It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Whitelaw.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the SUNY Oswego's assistant men's ice hockey coach, Coach Jon Whitelaw. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Brandon. Excited to chat with you.
Thank you. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in college men's ice hockey?
I think I went into school to be a teacher, and I think I've always had a deep love for the game and passion for coaching. I got into coaching when I was playing junior hockey up in Huntsville. So that kind of gave me my first taste, and it was really enjoyable to work with youth and share my passion for the game with them. But I think ultimately, when my time came to end my playing career, partnering that with my teaching degree, I just thought it would be a great opportunity for me to continue to do something I love, giving back to younger players. And I think about all of the people in my life that have had the greatest influence on me. And it always goes back to either coaches or teachers. So I thought, for myself, I'd love to be able to, be recognized or known in that way for the players that I work with as someone that positively impacted their life. And I think to me, it's not a job. It's enjoyable. Again, sharing that passion and love for a game, while also obviously, teaching a lot of life lessons and so forth along the way. It's a dream job for me, and I, couldn't ask for anything better.
What was that experience like for you as a player playing for SUNY Oswego?
Yeah, it was amazing. Before getting recruited to Oswego, I'll be honest, I didn't know anything about it, where it was, had never heard of it. So that part was a little strange when I first began getting recruited by Coach Ed and Dan Ford at the time. But from the moment I stepped on campus, I fell in love with it. It felt like a great fit for me. My family was definitely on board, and when I saw my first game in the campus center, it was a no-brainer. The atmosphere was electric, and the team obviously has a long-standing tradition of success. And I think the total picture was great for me, athletically, academically, financially and socially. And no, it was a great fit. Obviously, a place that's very special to me, and a place that I've loved, and a place that I haven't left. So it's a special spot.
For you as a player, what was that feeling like putting on that jersey for the first time?
Oh, it was awesome. Unbelievable. I mean, I think every player that plays junior hockey, usually their goal is to get to the next level and play collegiately. And so for me, it was certainly a sense of accomplishment, but also just an honor, knowing the program's strong tradition and history, to be a member of that program and to represent your school and community. I think for me, the first wow moment was our first exhibition game, which was a sellout, and standing on the blue line for the anthem. And when everybody stood up, you could see the reflection in the glass. And I came from a small town in Huntsville where, we might have played in front of 800 people, and that was awesome. And to come down to Oswego and for an exhibition game have 3,000 people and to see them all, that was definitely a wow moment for me, and one I'll never forget.
As a player, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
I would say just over the 4 years, I was very fortunate to play with a great group. We went to the Frozen Four all 4 years. We won 2 conference championships together. And then our last 2 years, just falling one short, coming up twice in the national championship, falling up short. But no, I think the greatest accomplishments I look back on were just the team success that we had. I think we're the winningest 4 years, 4-year span in Oswego's history, which if you look at the history of the program, that really says a lot. And no, it was a very fun time for me and my teammates. And with all that team success, a lot of us went on to have some individual accolades, and we had a lot of All-Americans, all-conference players, and guys that went on to play professionally afterwards. So when I reflect back on my career at Oswego, a lot of it was just our team success, and it was nice to see a lot of guys get recognized individually.
As a player, what was that experience like, as you said, playing in the Frozen Four?
Awesome, because at that time of the year, you're playing the best of the best, and usually, it's at some pretty unique locations, and so we got to play out in Minnesota, and play in Lake Placid, where the Miracle on Ice happened, and you're playing the highest competition, and so just the pressure that comes with that, the stakes are so high, and I just think those are my favorite memories, were those trips, because to make it to the Final Four in any sport is very impressive, and that's the ultimate goal for every team, is to get to that last weekend of the year. And thankfully for all 4 years that I played collegiately, we made it to that last weekend. Just came up short all 4 times, but that part, I wish we could change, but no, it was an awesome ride. Again, just to do it with your teammates and brothers, it was awesome.
As a player, what was that memory like, getting to play on that Miracle on ice in Lake Placid?
Yeah, it's funny to say that. I love Lake Placid. It's not too far from Oswego, so it's a place where we get to visit. But I actually had gone to some tournaments there when I was younger, as a youth, and I don't know what it is, because I absolutely love that place. I love the history. That's what I went to school for, was teaching social studies and history. So I'm kind of a nerd like that, but just knowing the history that took place in that community and that arena, pretty special to be on that ice. And for whatever reason, I don't have success there. In my youth hockey, I felt like we always lost in the championship there, and then when we went back collegiately, it was like always just coming up short. So for whatever reason, I have some bad juju there, but I love going up there, and I'm hoping sometime in the near future they'll host another Frozen Four, and maybe we'll get another chance to finally turn the tide.
After your collegiate time, what was it like getting into coaching and first going to Huntsville?
Yeah, so for me, that was an awesome experience, just because I had played my junior hockey in Huntsville, and it was a place that I didn't grow up there, but it had become home for me, moving up there when I was 16. And then eventually when I was 20, my parents fell in love with it as well, and they moved up. So once I had graduated from Oswego and finished playing overseas, I was kind of in limbo there, where I knew ultimately I wanted to get back down to the US and to get into coaching. But being Canadian and with visas and whatnot, it was a little challenging at the time. So I just thought it was a great opportunity for me to at least get a taste, and pretty cool to coach in a program that you came up through, and to work with some great people there at the time. It was kind of full circle. That was a place that where I first kind of got my taste coaching in youth, and then coming all the way back to kind of begin. I think it was like 8 years later. It was an awesome experience, and a good spot for me to get started.
How was that experience like for you, being a grad assistant for SUNY Portland?
I have to be honest, at first it was strange, just in the sense that Cortland is a team that we compete against in our conference, and have become a pretty big rival of ours now. And so I took some flack from my teammates, but again, it was an opportunity. Ideally, I knew I always wanted to try and get back to Oswego if I could, but it was a great opportunity to, I think, experience something else because all I had known was Oswego. And so that's kind of how I viewed it. It was a great opportunity to experience another program, another school, another culture, learn from another coach, a great coach who works his tail off. And so I just think it was a good experience for me to, again, get started back in college level and learn from someone else that I look to as a mentor now. And it was weird being in red and white and staring across the ice at Oswego, but it was a phenomenal experience for me and one that I'm very grateful for.
After that time, what was that experience like coming back to your alma mater of Oswego and being first a grad assistant?
Yeah, that's, like I said, kind of a dream come true, right? I think ultimately, the moment I graduated, I knew that I wanted to get into coaching, and I think I knew that Oswego was where I wanted it to be. So to be able to come back with just the way things lined up after spending that 1 year at Cortland and then having the opportunity to come be a graduate assistant at Oswego, continue my education, but also work with Coach Ed and at the time Coach Mark Digby, two people that I really look up to in my life. It was perfect. It was a dream come true, and it worked perfect also for my family. My wife at the time, we weren't married, but we were getting close there, and so for us, just geographically where we lived, it made sense, and it's home. It's home for us. So it's I was very grateful and just excited, I guess, also to continue my education and get another degree from Oswego.
Now, as a coach, what was that feeling like stepping back onto your alma mater and getting to be an assistant coach for them?
Yeah, no, it's certainly. I only knew one side of it from Oswego. I knew it from the playing side, and I'll be honest, I remember as players we used to always wonder what the heck those guys did in the office all day, and so to be able to kind of see the other side of it, and to realize how much work goes into running a program like ours, and at any collegiate level program, that was eye-opening for sure, because I guess you don't realize how much really goes into it. And but it was special. It was certainly, again, like I referenced why I got into it. It was an opportunity for me to impact their current players that I was working with, and give back to them, and share my experiences, and hopefully leave a little bit of a impact on their lives going forward. And so it was very enjoyable, and just grateful. I don't think too many people get the opportunity to go back to a place where they played, and so I think that's rare, and I was very lucky, and I'm still lucky.
What was that transition like for you going from being a player for Oswego to getting over on the coaching side and becoming a coach there?
Yeah, no, it was I don't want to say it was hard. It was just different, right? I still find it hard because as a coach, you're limited on, the impact you can have on a game. It's really all about, preparing your players as well as you can. And then once the game starts, it's really up to them, and you're just kind of, managing things throughout the game. But so that part was always tough because I absolutely loved competing. I loved playing for Oswego. I loved being on the ice. I loved having the opportunity to change a game. And as a coach, it's hard because you're limited in that sense. But it's also just, it gives you a completely different outlook on the game, and I think it's changed how I view the game. I wish as a player I had the same mind that I have now as a coach, because you think a lot differently, and I always wonder how that would have impacted me as a player, viewing the game how I view it now versus how I viewed it when I was a player. But no, it's been a phenomenal experience, and it's been a great transition, and it's easy to do it in a place where you're comfortable, and you're comfortable with the people leading it.
How was that feeling like the first time you got a win as a coach for Oswego?
Yeah, no, it's again, like for us and our program, it's very high standards, very high expectations. And so, continuing that tradition and our history, it's special. And I think whether it's the first win or any win, I enjoy it no different, because it's again just something that we strive for. I know every team strives for it, but no, it's just special to be a part of it and continuing on that tradition of success at our program and our school.
Can you talk about the culture that you've helped to build for SUNY Oswego's men's ice hockey program?
Yeah, so I mean, I think all of our coaches, it's always been a very hardworking program, a very competitive program, a very disciplined program, and I think for me, it's just continuing on that tradition and the commitment that's been made from all of our coaches to ensure that those standards don't drop, and if anything, we're just going to continue to try to raise them. But I think for us at the Division III level, obviously there's a lot more to it than just the athletic side. And I think for us and for me, I think we take the most pride in just what we do off the ice as well. And I think in the team, we may have led the entire country in community service hours last year logged. And so that's something we take great pride in. We're very active in our community. Each of our players, I think they average over 100 hours of community service a year, which is pretty amazing on top of everything else that we demand of them. And that also flows into their academics. I think last year we were named the top team out of all of our athletics in terms of academically. So I think in terms of our culture, it's just that, competitive drive and everything that we do. It's giving back to the community and, just being disciplined and committed to excellence. And I think that's on the ice, it's in the community, it's in the classroom. And I think that's why so many of our guys, whether it be on the ice and hockey professionally or just in life, professionally with work, why so many Oswego Lakers go on to have success in their next chapter after Oswego, because of the culture that's present within our program.
What does a typical game day look like for you as a coach versus for your players?
As a coach, it's crazy because at our level, again, we're limited with the staff that we have, and whether you're a head coach, assistant coach, you kind of do it all. So on a game day, usually we're there very early, and we've prepared some video and scouting reports for our opponents. We typically do a morning workout and skate with our players along with a video session, and then in the afternoon, as the players go home and they get to nap, the coaches, there's no real sleep for us. It's making sure the room is set up and everything's set up for the evening, and again, all your meetings and so forth that you're going to have before the game are in order. You're planning food, you're planning, whether if you're on the road, you're planning hotels and checkouts and buses, and so it can be pretty chaotic. But at the end of the day, I mean, I certainly don't complain because I love being at the rink. I love being a part of it. I love every part of it. Like, I love hanging the jerseys. I love vacuuming the room. It's my happy place, I guess you could say, in a way. So although it can be a lot and it can be long days, I don't think people factor that into for coaches when you're getting to the rink at say 7 a.m. on a game day and you're not leaving till 11 p.m. It's a long day. But when you love every aspect of what you do, time flies. So they're busy days, and at our level, like I said, you kind of do it all. And I think that's what I love about Division III is, you're invested, and you have to be invested, because if you're not, your program's going to be lacking in certain areas. So no, game days are always my favorite day, and players, it's pretty simple. You show up, you get your lift, you tune into the video session, get out for a quick skate, have a nice meal, nap, and then you get to play the game. So they have it the best, but as coaches, I think we're pretty lucky too.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against each week?
Yeah, so for us, we're in the SUNY, which is the state schools here in New York. So we work in, I guess, from north to south. We have Plattsburgh, Potsdam, SUNY Canton will be joining us this year. SUNY Morrisville, SUNY Cortland. Then we would have us kind of right in the middle of it all. And then you've got SUNY Buffalo State and Fredonia State. So it's a very competitive conference. It's one of the longest standing conferences in Division III. So I think that's something we always take pride in is the conference has had, good stability. It's always competitive. There's always at least, it's 2 to 3 of us within national contention in the top 15 each year. So it's a fun conference to play in because every night you're going to get a good game, and the atmospheres within the rinks that we play in are all very good as well. So it's we're very fortunate.
What is that home game atmosphere like when SUNY, Potsdam, and Buffalo State come to home versus going to Plattsburgh?
Yeah, no, so like our home atmosphere is, I think, quite frankly, the best part of playing at Oswego, just because of the community that comes out. We have 1,200 season ticket holders, so the community is very involved and have always been supportive of the hockey program. We don't have a football program, so hockey is definitely within the fabric of Oswego and always has been, and they support it well. And we typically get about 1,500 students to a game as well. So they're the ones that I think bring that atmosphere. They get rowdy, they have their chants, they make it a fun place to play. And then you have usually another 200-300 fans that'll just kind of, walk up, I guess you could say, or if we have different promotions going on. So to be able to get anywhere from 2,000, 3,000 fans a night, no matter who you're playing, it's always a great atmosphere. I think it's a place that other teams love to come play, which means we're typically always getting the other team's best game because they're excited to play there. And no different than when we go to some of the other rinks in our conference too, like you mentioned, SUNY Plattsburgh, a big rival of ours. And whenever we get to go up there, they typically sell out there, and they have their different promotions and events. And so just getting back to the SUNY conference, I think that's what makes it special, because every rink that you get to go play in usually has their own unique atmosphere. And it's very enjoyable for players and for coaches, because there are those atmospheres that make the games, I guess, give it a little more than say maybe a non-conference game where the crowds aren't as big.
What does that recruitment process look like for prospective student athletes? And as a coach, what do you look at in those prospective student athletes?
Yeah, so for us, at the Division III level, it's a little tougher. We try to, it's all about relationships, whether it's Division I or III, you're trying to build relationships with prospective student athletes. And so, for us, it's harder, I guess, to have those established relationships when they're younger, say in the 17, 18 years old. Because at that point they're still really driven on trying to get something at the Division I level, and that's fine. I know locally here it's much easier because we work with a lot of players that are of that age, and so we can start those relationships when they're younger. But no, for us, once they, we typically are recruiting guys that are aging out of junior, so they're older. Hockey's a unique sport where most players don't go right out of high school. They'll go when they're 20 years old, finishing up at junior. And so it's all about just building those relationships with them, trying to sell your school as a place that could be a potential good fit for them, and highlighting, for us, it's always athletics, academics, finances, and social. Just trying to make sure that that's a place where they'd feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, we always say we don't want to talk players into coming to Oswego. We want them, it should be mutual. They should want to come to Oswego as much as we want them to come to Oswego. And for us, again, it's just all about building that relationship with them, continuing on, and ultimately, if they don't end up with the right opportunity, maybe at the Division I level, we can, hopefully still give them that same experience at our level, and a very enjoyable place to play your 4 years.
As a coach and alma mater, what is it like seeing those players put on that jersey for the first time as freshmen?
Yeah, it's again, every year it brings flashbacks to the first time I got to put that jersey on. And so I think that's what's unique. Coaching at your alma mater is I've done what they're doing, right? I've put that jersey on for the first time, or I've shown up to school in August for the first time, and you're a little nervous, and I know how they feel, right? I've sat in their classrooms, I've lived in the houses that they lived in. Like, it's so, I think that's the best part is I can relate to them, because I've lived it with them. I've gone through a lot of those same experiences at the same place, and so I share that excitement that they have, certainly, because again, it always goes back to, 4 of the most enjoyable years of my life, and especially that first year when everything's new to you. I get real excited to see the look on their faces, and that real, joy and excitement that they have, putting the jersey on for the first time. It's something that I know I really enjoy, sharing that with them.
How is it like getting to see them put that jersey on for the last time and playing professional ice hockey or even getting into coaching?
Yeah, it's like, it's one of those things that it's really tough, because you spend 4 years with players, you build great relationships with them. You don't want them to leave, because we're fortunate that our players, we love them, right? They become part of our family, and so for us, it's one of those things where you're always sad to see them go, but you're so excited to see what they're going to do next. And so for our guys, to have a lot of them move on to the professional level, that that's their ultimate goal. Again, I know for me, that was my goal. And so to be able to help them get there, to help them develop, to prepare them for that, and then ultimately see them reach their goals, that's awesome. And I think that's why we coach, it's for that. But again, it's bittersweet. It's, you don't want to see them go, but you're so happy to see them, on that next chapter.
What is that like, getting to see them getting into coaching and taking the things that you taught them into their coaching career?
Yeah, it's absolutely, like, I know, we're at a point now where a lot of our players, whether it be at the collegiate level, professional level, youth level, a lot of our guys, they share that passion for the game, and they try to stay involved. So I think that's really cool. And it's great for us to, for me, I always looked at our coaches as mentors, and I would try to pick their brains. And I think now that I've been at it long enough, to have guys reach out to me and try to pick my brain on things, I love sharing, knowledge and experiences that I've had, with them, and then also, again, following them along. We've had guys that started in youth hockey and then found a college job, and then they moved into professional, or they went from D3 to D1, whatever it may be. It's awesome to see guys continue to have a passion for the game they love, and to share their joy with youth. And I think, as a coach, I know Ed, our head coach there, like, that's one of his greatest joys, and I can definitely echo that as well.
What advice would you give those coaches looking to get started in coaching and being assistant coaches on an ice hockey team?
Yeah, I think it's just, again, you got to put yourself out there. It's a hard business. I think everybody thinks it's easy to get into, or that there's not as much work involved. I think a lot of people think, with coaching, especially maybe at the D3 level, that it's hockey and you don't do anything else. It's quite the opposite, actually. There's a lot more to it, than simply just coaching hockey. And so I think, you have to be, willing to work. You have to be willing to travel. Again, the opportunities are scarce, so sometimes, I've been very fortunate to be able to kind of stay where our family is, but I know I've had a lot of friends that have bounced around from all over the country chasing the opportunities. So you have to be kind of willing and open to travel and to work, because the hours, it's not 9 to 5. If it's 9 to 5, you're probably at a program that's not very successful. It's long hours, long days, but if you love it, it doesn't ever feel that way. And so I think, advice I'd give for coaches is definitely to do your homework, to reach out to coaches, to try and get a feel for, if it's something that you truly think that you want to do. And it's, if you love the game enough and you love working with others, it's the best job in the world.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you out on social media along with the program at?
I don't have a big social media following or presence, but it's at J Whitelaw 10 is, I believe, my handle on Twitter and Instagram. And I guess going back to the advice thing, is don't be afraid to reach out to coaches, right? I think sometimes we're scared to put ourselves out there to ask questions. And I share a story that I love hearing. Was our volunteer assistant, Bobby Chattel. He coached a club hockey program, years ago, and just took a shot in the dark and sent an email to Rand Pecknold, who's at Quinnipiac. He's won a national championship, one of the top collegiate coaches in the country. Just took a shot in the dark, asking if he could chat with him for 5 minutes. And Rand ended up getting back to him, and they spoke for an hour and a half. Now that's a Division I championship coach talking to a small club hockey coach, and he didn't have to take the time to do that. But I think people realize, or will realize, that coaches love to help. Coaches love to talk. Coaches love to share experiences. And so I think, just not being scared to reach out to coaches to, see if you can have a bit of their time and pick their brains, I think would be, very useful advice to any coach. I know that's certainly something that I've taken and built some very good relationships because of it. So
That's great advice. Thank you again, Coach Jon Whitelaw, for your interview, and best of luck in your future at SUNY Oswego.
awesome. Thanks a lot, Brandon. Appreciate it having me.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Jon Whitelaw, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thanks, Brandon.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.